Dragon Age has been a long road from your first announcement till now that you're ready to launch Origins, just a couple of months out. Yeah. Could you describe that road and what's been like?
Well, it's been an evolution. I think we're trying to really capture the magic, of a lot of traditional RPGs that BioWare is known for. We've referred to Dragon Age as the spiritual successor to Baldur's Gate, and it really it's the next generation expression of that. And we've also tried to capture some new elements and an innovative approach, a fresh take on fantasy with an edge. It's not your traditional Tolkien-esque high fantasy. It's also not the sort of like a pure dark or low fantasy, kind of George R.R. Martin or Michael Moorcock. It's something in between, almost like the best of breed of both types of fantasy. We would call it dark heroic fantasy. And when you play the game, you understand why we've invested as much as we have in the game. It's a beautiful game. It's got a lot of quality and value for the fans. The price to value ratio is outstanding, I think. And just the replayability potential of it is amazing too. It really reflects the idea of choice with consequence as well in a deep way. And you don't really understand that sometimes until you talk with your friends about going through a similar point of the story or replaying it yourself and trying a different origin story or trying a different group of party members around you or making a different choice in the game. Then you start to understand how much is behind the scenes of potential space that you don't necessarily see in one playthrough. But the benefit of that to the player is that the customization and the personalization of your experience is just over the top. It's crazy, but you really feel like it's your personal adventure. In many ways it is. It's your personal experience.
So if you compare that to like the choices and the abilities to branch out in a game like Mass Effect, how much more choice is there?
Well, Mass Effect 2 has a tremendous amount of choice and personalization and choice with consequence as well. One of the differences between how we tell stories in Mass Effect and Dragon Age is Mass Effect has sort of a moment-to-moment, almost exciting exploration of what Shepard's going to do, and you kind of give him directional choice of a paraphrase, kind of be angry, kind of be irritable, kind of like proceed that way. So the classic Mass Effect choice and dialogue approach and narrative. And then you get to see Commander Shepard enact those orders in real time. So almost like a third-person authored experience of narrative. Dragon Age is more personal. It's more of a first-person narrative where you assume the role of what's from the moment of the origin story. You assume a role, and you really are that character at a deep level. And because we have 6 origin stories, we almost have written a minimum of 6 different paths through the game. But there's many more than that, of course, too. So Mass Effect has, really sort of one character that you're playing as, and many different paths as well. But Dragon Age has sort of almost like at the start it has 6 different origins that provide 6 different entry points into the fiction. And depending on whether you play as an elf or a human or a dwarf or a mage, they're going to have a very different experience. One example of that is the elves were enslaved by humans at one point, so they were downtrodden and they're disrespected. And if you play as a Dalish or city elf, you're going to have a very different experience than if you play as a dwarf or as a human noble, say, where as a human noble you get a lot of respect, at least superficial respect from people around you. But you're going to have a different feeling playing through the game. Magic users have the same experience because magic is, on the one hand, very respected and it's very powerful, but it's also feared. So you have a sense of being powerful, and yet people don't like you as a magic user for reasons that aren't really clear. But then you realize it's because you're simply a magic user. So you're playing through a different experience with every origin story in Dragon Age.
So I assume Dragon Age is your new franchise, and you choose to tell the origin stories. Like how would you place that? Is that like a prelude to the world that you want to tell in future games?
Yeah, basically the origin stories in Dragon Age are you can view them as almost an introduction and a tutorial, a prelude to the main story arc, but they invest you in the role. They really make you feel like you're taking on the role of a Dalish elf or city elf or dwarf commoner, dwarf noble, human noble, or mage. Those are the origin choices. And when you emerge from the origin story, several hours of unique gameplay that's personalized to you, you really feel like you're that character. It's really cool.
Is that something you also, because with Mass Effect, of course, you can carry on certain things to a sequel. Is that something that you would like to do with Dragon Age as well, and will you be able to influence future games?
Yeah, we see both Dragon Age and Mass Effect as franchises, and we're investing in them with that goal to try and have continuity and follow through. One of the things we're doing with Dragon Age is really neat is we're doing a lot of post-release downloadable content. There's more post-release downloadable content for Dragon Age than in any past BioWare game. And we're doing a lot of it for Mass Effect 2 as well. And not only that, in Dragon Age we're also releasing the user content creation tools so that the fans can make content themselves and share it freely amongst themselves. We're going to support that. We're also making a bunch of PDLC that we're going to be offering for purchase by fans that's really high quality. So we're really excited about launching Dragon Age as a platform for which you can see as a launch pad to you continue your adventure long term. And Mass Effect is the same way. We wanted to do more post-release content on Mass Effect 2, so we're investing in that. We have on both projects separate teams that are kind of working in parallel along the main team, building a roadmap and making sure we have a plan that releases content at regular intervals post-release for our fans.
Following these grey wardens has cost us our country. Times beyond counting. Stand with me, and we shall defeat even the Blight itself.